Right, so now we've got the Isg Startup Challenge. This is a regular feature at our events. It's an opportunity for you to see some of the innovative technologies and firms coming through that you should consider for the workplace, but also have a bit of fun with it along the way. So we've got 3 companies who are going to present their pitch about why you should adopt their solution, and our judges are going to ask them some questions, and then we'll prompt you later on to vote on the winner. So just to start with, I'd like to introduce our Startup Challenge judges who've come in to help us today. So Simon Claydon, you'll recognise from earlier on, who's come from AXA. We've got Todd Benson from Harrington LLC, and our own Stephen Marshall, partner from ISG. And in terms of the brave startups who've put themselves into the lion's den today, we've got Daniel Lawrence, founder and CEO from Freda, Gary Cole, founder at Lumilinks Group Limited, and Ben Brooks, founder and CEO of Pilot. So the way this is going to work is we've got like a pre-recorded pitch from the guys. So we'll flip over to that in a moment. Then there'll be a strict 3-minute questioning. So really, it's about enough time for a couple of questions from the judges. We'll go through each of the startups in turn. And then later on, we'll go for the poll when I prompt you. So to start with then, I'd like to introduce our first contestant. That's Danielle Lawrence. Danielle, let's have a look at the pitch from Freda.
Hello everyone, my name is Danielle Lawrence and I am the founder and CEO of Freda, a SaaS platform automating data extraction, interpretation and analysis for financial institutions. Before I talk about how we do that exactly and the business benefits to your organization, I'd first like to talk about the importance of financial institutions more broadly, now more than ever. So we trust insurance firms to fulfill claims when we have endured an unfortunate event. Pension funds to support us throughout our retirement, banks to extend loans to small businesses, and endowments and charities to help fund education, transport, and healthcare for future generations. But the system today is broken. These financial institutions have traditionally relied on manual processes to operate. Every year, millions of documents are received, typically unstructured and non-standardized, and therefore manual data entry is required to extract that information. And of course, we're all human and make mistakes, but the implications in this context are massive, with risk of contract breaches, late payment fees, and KYC fines. On average, we actually each lose 127 days to tasks relating to data collection, processing, and analysis that could be automated. Precious time and resources, which could also be freed up to focus on higher value, higher impact tasks. And the cost to these organizations is also huge, $420 billion annually. The consequence of this is less money in our pension pots, higher insurance premiums, and missed opportunities to invest in future generations. Due to the constraints of manual processing and analysis, we also typically lack transparency and are often unable to see our data clearly. Ultimately, this means we fail to make better data-driven decisions and miss out on a wealth of opportunities. So we're actually talking to one asset manager who say they have to turn down as much as 1 in 3 investment opportunities because they're simply not able to access the required information from a mountain of documents that they receive. So at Freda, we're trying to change that. Our cloud-based application leverages machine learning, natural language processing, and artificial intelligence to address these pain points. And we're also supported by a really robust and scalable tech stack. But how do we do this exactly? Well, I'll walk you through a 6-step process as to what that looks like at Freda. So first, we are able to extract unstructured document data from a variety of formats and industries. We are then able to intelligently infer context, meaning, and relevance in the same way that you and I do as humans. We work with existing operations and finance teams to then verify the data and continuously improve the results. And that's where machine learning really shines. And then once the data is extracted, it's completely searchable. So that allows our users to find the most relevant data faster. Finally, we integrate into existing workflows via our own REST API, and we plan to provide third-party integrations later this year. Now, this is a really exciting part. We're seeing really game-changing results from our technology. Processing speeds are typically 10 times faster, with up to 99.9% accuracy. Finally, the breadth of data collection and transformation is increased 20-fold. And these results translate into real business benefits. For an average middle or back office team of say 10, we see potential for a reduction in costs of a fifth from lower headcount. Or put differently, a potential to boost productivity by 25% simply by freeing up your existing team's time and resources. So who are we? Well, we're a team of financial professionals, technologists and PhDs who have worked on delivering innovative technology across financial services for more than 25 years. Collectively, we've worked at places like Goldman Sachs, MetLife, Citibank and Thomson Reuters. And we're not alone, we're also supported by some excellent strategic and technical advisors. Some of their specialities include digital products, machine learning, deep learning and neural networks, and artificial intelligence more generally. Finally, we're also backed by a number of partners, including Innovate UK and the Impact Lab in the Southwest. And they're really supporting us to launch our beta platform later this year. So if you are interested in getting early access to our next release this summer and get some of those business benefits working for you, then please do contact us at info@freda.io or contact myself at danielle@freda.io. And that is it for this presentation. Thank you so much for listening, and we look forward to helping you free your data.
Right, so we've seen the video there. So it's time for some questions from the judges. So first of all, questioning Danielle. Stephen, can I start with you, please? And I'm going to do the 3-minute timer just to keep us honest. There we go.
Fantastic, thank you, Phil. And Danielle, thank you also for a really interesting presentation. I love particularly the way you built up the story and the narrative in terms of the offering. You talked in some length in terms of the efficiencies and the savings that could be achieved. What's the sort of return on investment, Danielle, are you finding for your clients, and what's the sort of payback period?
Sure. So we have definitely built the platform for efficiency gains in mind and operational efficiencies. So we go through in order to think through what the real business benefits will be. So first, we actually start by thinking about what are the actual processes that you can actually begin to think about automating. So that your data collection, your processing, and then the automation potential. For a team of say 10, for example, we expect to see a return of around 25% cost reduction annually, and that translates into about $102,000 based on the average sort of middle back office wage of our clients.
Fantastic, thank you. And how would you best differentiate what you're offering compared to what else is out there in the marketplace?
I think the main difference for us is this combination of domain expertise and technical expertise. So what we're trying to do is not build something very generic, because when you're using machine learning techniques, it's very hard to do everything for everyone. And so we focus in on financial institutions to start with, and we're able to apply these to actually understand the nuances and train our models based on that expertise. So I would say it's the combination of domain and technical expertise, and actually the way that we're approaching it, which is fundamentally using a dynamic machine learning approach as opposed to a quite static rules-based approach, which is falls over quite quickly when you have quite complex documents, as we do in financial services.
Terrific. And if we've got 20 seconds, Phil, let me just ask final 20 seconds.
About 10, I think the buzzer might go.
In 10 seconds, how would you describe your ideal client, Danielle?
I think an ideal client for us at this stage, to put in context, we're launching our beta. So it's someone that is engaged, who really that has a relatively sizable team, so they can really feel that impact of the operational gains. So sorry, very generic, but short on time.
Fantastic, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Stephen, you rule breaker. I don't know. Thank you, Danielle, appreciate that. And I know that, link-wise, it's been difficult, so we could hear you coming
No problem.
through there. All right, so now what I'd like to
Great,
do
perfect.
is...
Thank you.
Thank you. So let's flip across to Gary and Lumilinks. So the same sort of format. So we'll see, the pitch video, and then we'll do, well, now 3.5 minutes of questioning, thanks to Stephen, changing the goalposts. So let's flip over to the video first.
Hi everyone, I'm Gary Cole, I'm founder of Lumilinks. Really chuffed to be talking and being part of the day today and the Isg Startup Challenge. I, like most people, are adapting to the fact that I'm now recording my pitch at home in what looks like a sauna, but actually it's a home office. I've got children and my neighbours have children, and there's people doing DIY all over the place. So I've done best I can to hopefully get across some information about Lumilinks, what we do, what we specialise in. We genuinely think it's really quite cool technology. It's certainly built from an academic background using data science, and yeah, hopefully I'll give you a good taste of that. So ultimately, Lumilinks, it's a product company, so we're building an API so people can consume our product however they choose, whether it be on our SaaS platform or integrated into another platform. But ultimately we bring data science to the marketing realm. Now I hear you, a lot of people have been saying, oh, not another MarTech platform. Hopefully I can distinguish the fact that we're not, and actually we've got a very clear differentiator. Ultimately, as a startup, we've had to pick a vertical to work in, but our technology does work across multiple verticals, and I'll give you a little bit of a taste of that right at the end of the presentation. So, in our first slide, this just really talks about our specialism in complexity theory. If anyone's a fan of the Big Bang Theory, they'll know that there's, when they put corn flour over the top of a bass speaker, and this fluid then becomes a solid object as a sound waves interact with it. And ultimately we take the same theory to marketing. So whereas a lot of marketing platforms today in the MarTech space deal with the behavior of your clicks or your downloads, or these third-party cookies and track your IP addresses, we don't do that. We operate before that part of the sales cycle. So we're kind of gauging anonymous data, so it's very compliant with GDPR, and we're talking about the behavioural types and trends in general society, and therefore matching your marketing and your sales effort against those traditional kind of behaviours, opposed to what kind of has developed in the MarTech space. We think there's very much a different methodology that can be taken that's a lot more effective when you're looking at trends in behaviour. So if I just talk to you about this next slide, and it's ultimately, if you envisage our service, our platform, this is what we do. So as I said at the bottom, you can see we can be consumed in multiple ways in your Microsoft Teams environment or integrated as part of other technology. Ultimately, we kind of see it as turning on some intelligence, but most importantly, that intelligence leads to recommendations. So we have a look at your current client base and we tell you their lifetime value. So things around the, the kind of traditional kind of where's your highest propensity to spend in your client base. We then take that kind of learnings into your prospect area and do something. Our offering is called dynamic segmentation. I'll talk you through that. But ultimately, we're listening to trends in the general population through anonymous data, and then we're enabling you to find the who, but not just what do they look like from an attribute, but also their personality. And then measuring that against you being able to say your return on advertising spend. There's a huge amount of money being wasted on some online advertising systems that just simply aren't effective, or they aren't placed in the right place in the buying cycle. As well as then where should you put your fixed assets? Stores, pop-up shops, all those type of things. So traditionally we've been a B2B house, but at the same time our technology works and probably is more comfortable in B2C. So this next slide talks to you about our main product, which is called dynamic segmentation, as I've mentioned. So ultimately we're taking the traditional segmentation approach like Experian and Acorn have been doing for a long time. We think that we build on that with not just the attributes of age and affluence, but also the personality. And then we mix that together with Google Analytics, and then using our kind of technology or our knowledge in network and behavioral science, that enables us to return really high results for our clients. Some of our clients have seen upwards of an 88-to-1 return, and yeah, again, happy to dig into that maybe in the questioning part. So ultimately, as I said, that we start before the majority of MarTech platforms in the sense that we look at personality types. So there's a massive difference. For example, on this slide, you can see the difference between an influencer and an advocate. And majority of marketing have been looking at influencers for a long time. These people are normally self-motivated in the sense of technology or special offers, but actually we all know when you've got advocates that really believe in your brand, they're really powerful. And so therefore what we're doing, as you can see in the top left, is not just looking at your product, whether you're a new entry to the market, whether whether a new product is a new offering to the market. We're understanding where you are on your journey, and then we're cross-referencing that against the right type of people and how then you should activate those people. So the reason there's a difference between influencers and advocates is because influencers normally sit in the middle of social circles, whereas advocates normally sit on the edge of social circles. So if you can reach more advocates that then get really passionate about your brand, you've got a greater reach. But not just that, is that you've got to kind of contend with the fact that it takes longer normally to win advocates in that sense. Now, if you take this technology, as I've said, it's really powerful. We offer it as a SaaS platform, as an API, and it can really help marketers. As I say, we've got some case studies that show upwards of a 30-40% higher hit rate when it comes to their pay-per-click marketing. We can show a 30% effect of offline activity, so whether that's a shop or a billboard, increases. So we can measure those effects and give you really informed decisions. But like I said, actually, one of the most important things is that our technology goes across a whole load of sectors. That's shipping, vehicle tracking, financial services, financial fraud. So anyway, that's us at Lumilinks. Thanks for listening. Happy to take all the questions, and hopefully my the noise hasn't been too bad. Cheers.
Right, so our second startup video. So for this one, Gary's going to be questioned by Simon Claydon. So I'll let you take that away, Simon, and I'll start the timer now.
Thanks, Bill. Hi, Gary. Yeah, that's a interesting pitch. So just to follow up on a couple of questions. This sort of area, I don't know, from my experience, it's not a lack of data. We usually have like a wall of noise out there. So what is it that Lumilinks does, either for your product or the support that actually helps businesses get insight, actionable insight and intelligence from that they can do something with? Is that something that's inbuilt to the tool, or is that something that's support after that?
Yeah, so it's a great question, actually, and thank you for that, because I think that one of the things that when we started the company was really important to us is that no one needs another graph. No one needs more data. Some of the work that we do actually is eliminating a lot of noise. We don't do the kind of transformation of data or insight into people's own transactional data, is that we actually work out what's relevant to them. We obviously merge that with our own segmentation work, where we brought in everything from sensor data and, kind of face-to-face interviews. But yeah, it's a great point, is that, people need actionable insight. And at the moment, a lot of the marketing world is focused on the activity that happens online or in their funnel. Whereas we take a step back and look at society and look at the trends and behavior in society. And actually it was really interesting with something we were doing recently on the COVID-19 situation, on looking at people's social tolerances. So look, yeah, it's a great question. I think that the whole point is that there's enough data out there, and it's just eliminating the amount of data and focusing on the key points of data. If that answers the question.
Yeah. And how, whether it's large companies or small companies, but coming from a large business, even we lack some of the skills that you need to manage digital channels. Yep. So are there some kind of quick hints and tips that, before an organization considers your tool, that you'd kind of expect them to have either roles in place or infrastructure in place to make it easier to use your tool, or is it almost plug and play?
No, our tool is definitely plug and play. We've designed it. We're not after, screen time. We're not after people using our platform and creating loyalty in that sense. We're genuinely after how can we give you input that's really valuable. If I had to talk about, and there was a great pitch by Daniela in the sense of the pieces on AI technology, machine learning techniques, and all those type of things. Basically, if you step back, that although we do and we play in those spaces, that's not the fundamental of our business. Is that we've got statisticians at the heart of our business, and a lot of people's models that they use in business for lifetime value to understand their clients are skewed in their bias, and that's simply because the methodology they're using is wrong. And so, as much as there's a lot of advancements that can go ahead, the simple thing and the first step is always is that you can plug your data in, and we can give you input straight back on your marketing data and transactional data that will enable you to get help back place, and the result can be huge. The result can be just a small, it's like a bullet, a small directional change at the start. By the end, it can add up to millions of pounds. And I've genuinely seen that where someone believes that their lifetime value of a client was about 6 months. Actually, it wasn't. And the end result added up to millions of pounds that they've made incorrect decisions based on.
Okay. Thanks, Gary. We're timed out there, but that was a great answer. And so that's 2 out of 3 done. So appreciate that, and thanks, Simon, for running the questioning. So now we're going to go to our final contestant. So that's Ben Brooks, and let's have a look at the pitch for Pilot.
Hi there, I'm Ben Brooks. I'm the founder and CEO of Pilot. Pilot is an employee coaching software platform. We're super excited to be part of the Isg Startup Challenge and to be part of your Future Workplace Summit virtually. Here's a little bit about our company. So I'm a former senior vice president of HR. I understand what it's like to implement HR programs and software, which is very difficult often. And I've been an executive coach. We've taken coaching in the one-on-one process, which I've done for 7 years now, and built it into our company. I'm also an influencer in the HR tech space. And I founded this company with my life savings. I called it my Series Me. Everything I got, I put into this company. Haven't taken $1 in compensation in 5 years. And it's all about this mission for people to feel powerful at work. We believe everyone should feel that way, and if we do, it would solve a great deal of business problems. So in 5 years, we've accomplished a lot. You see a lot of great customers here that we've worked with across different industries and different countries, for-profit, nonprofit, small business, big business, etc. Our product has wide market appeal to knowledge workers and salaried employees. We've won accolades from industry analysts and won awards for excellence in women's leadership development and in coaching and mentoring, named the #1 workplace technologies or HR tech startup to watch. And we won the Pitch Fest at the HR Technology Conference, the largest global HR tech event in the world. We took home a nice $25,000 check. So, today employees more than ever, they want development, they want continuous feedback, they want to feel their company cares about them, but they're also used to their consumer lives doing things when they want, where they want, mobile and cloud technologies. And as the walls of the office have become very porous, including from work from home, the idea of the whole person approach to development seems to be in demand. Unfortunately, companies are often faced with either very ineffective approaches, like relying solely on the frontline manager or hanging content in the learning management system that you hope people use, or really expensive things, one-off things, hard to measure things, things that have a short shelf life of learning and development and growth. And coaching is probably one of the best ways you can develop employees, but there's some major pain points that get in the way. First, it's expensive. The median cost, according to Harvard Business School, of an executive coach in the United States at least, is $500 an hour. And so it's not the sort of thing when you buy coaching packages for $10, $20, $30, $40,000 per employee that you can give. Secondly, development objectives. Coaches work best when there's particular things that an employee needs to work on, an executive. Most employees don't know what those are. Most managers haven't identified those. Third thing is just difficult to deploy and scale. You have long contracting processes. You can't get it to many people, often delivered in person, only at headquarters. And then often you have low participation. People don't take advantage of it, inconsistent quality based on each coach, etc. The good thing about Pilot is because we have so much empathy for HR and management professionals, we've taken all of these barriers and turned them inside out and really turned them into advantages of an affordable solution with a structured program that you can deploy rapidly to anyone in the world in a matter of a week or two that has, literally an order of magnitude greater participation, aggregated insights, and consistent quality. The idea is only 1% of employees ever get coaching in their career, often late career, very senior executives, because again, it's so expensive. And part of having everyone feel powerful at work is addressing the underserved. So the target market that we focus within an employer is employees companies want to reach. They want to give more to, but they don't have necessarily the staff or the time to do that. Sort of like an upgrade you wish you could give to folks. And ideally, it's employees that you deem regrettable if you were to have attrition. So it's often your best people that are future leaders, diverse talent that's difficult to hire, people with unique technical knowledge, people that would be difficult to rehire. Simply put, Pilot is software-based employee coaching that the employee owns their development. It's on a weekly cadence, and weekly is key. Most talent management is one and done. Weekly creates habits and sustained results and behavior. And we use technology, which makes it accessible and flexible and collects a lot of data. For the employee, every week they're going to work on their career over 6 months, 10 minutes at a time, when they want, where they want. Working parents often do it at night after they put kids to bed. People that travel a lot do it when they're on the road. Some people like to focus on the weekend. Some people do it at the office, but it's on a smartphone or any device that employees would like. And then once a month, they get together for live group video coaching with a group of colleagues at their employer together, which is very dynamic. And then for management and HR, we check in every month to let you know how things are going. We put together great reports. We do the project management, the change management, and all the heavy lifting. So in total, it takes about 90 minutes of employee touch time per month over the 6 months. And then for the managers of employees that are in the program, whether the employees themselves are supervisors or not, we help coach them on bringing coaching into their management practice, providing truly meaningful developmental feedback to those employees, and in just a couple of hours over a 6-month experience. So as you can see from our interface, it's easy to use, it's clean, it's simple, there's no software to download, there's no passwords, it's very easy, works on mobile web, and we deliver everything through email and text message. We meet employees where they are, one click, they do their thing, and we remind them, and we nudge them, and that really helps. And what the software does is it asks the same questions that a coach would ask across the table in a one-on-one. And after each coaching activity, employees get a nice summary of what they did with some additional insights and guidance. And our live group video coaching includes polls, live chat, breakout rooms, challenging questions. And it's an idea to come together, to celebrate, to learn, to be accountable. And everyone's sharing and participating. It's very dynamic, a lot of energy, and really fun to connect people, especially when they're working from home. And then the analytics we put together are C-suite ready. No reports to spin or pivot tables to make. They're ready to take to executive tables to have stimulating conversations with data-driven insights around your people. Now, what's in Pilot? It's a structured program, and structured has some big opportunities for companies because we've taken an 80-20 approach of what most employees need in their career to be successful and satisfied. So there's, a 10-minute activity, a 10-minute activity, a 10-minute activity, and a live group coaching session. We focus on management, leadership, and power. Every role in a company in some ways is a management role. Anyone can be a leader, and using different sources of power, how employees can prepare for success, how they can own their satisfaction, be happier in their lives and take action, a better relationship with their manager, and how to manage their own inclusion and even write an owner's manual for themselves. And employers find that employees feel valued, seen, and recognized, helps them create a habit of prioritizing their development. They feel empowered to get their needs met, and a stronger connection with employees in a different kind of environment. So I'm Ben Brooks, that's Pilot Coaching. Would love to hear from you if you're interested. We're at pilot.coach, www.pilot.coach, and we're all over social media. And look forward to your questions, judges, as you consider who is the startup winner. Thank you.
Okay, so that's the final pitch from Pilot. So now I'm going to turn over Ben to be questioned by Todd. And again, we'll get the timer going.
Terrific. Enjoyed your presentation. I'm curious if you might kind of share some of the characteristics or commonalities of some of your most successful kind of client kind of relationships to date. Tell me a little bit more about that.
What we've found, Todd, is that typically the customer that buys our product, it's a B2B product, so you have to see if the end user is different than the person that writes the check, but the person that writes the check is typically someone that needs to drive change. They have some, reputational capital on the line within a company to transform. They're not caretakers, or people usually are more transformers. And that's been across nonprofits, privately held companies, public companies, different industries. That's been the biggest sort of demographic, the person that's really a change agent.
And what's the revenue model?
So it's a SaaS model. So it's a platform fee and per seat pricing for each coaching program.
Which ranges just order of magnitude?
So about $1,000 or $2,000 per person for a full coaching program. So, and usually the average, number of seats for each group is 25 to 35 people.
So like it's a $25,000 to $35,000 kind of price point.
Yeah, that's sort of our starting point. Yeah.
And what have you found in terms of basically like sort of persistence, in terms of just bringing on additional cohorts, or are you not far enough along to have any sort of kind of data or feedback from that?
It's a great question. That lifetime value of the customer is a big part of our long-term value and revenue model. So MetLife is our biggest customer, for instance. I've worked with them for 3.5 years now, and they keep buying more. Talking to them later today about other opportunities. And so the majority of our customers end up renewing, expanding, extending. We have people that have left companies and gone to a new company, and they bring us into that company. And so it's a really important part of our model we start small, but the goal is to have a much larger engagements over time.
They're not working with you, basically, or kind of what is there another kind of is there a Pepsi to your Coke, so to speak, in your industry?
So there's a lot of literally hundreds of startups with a lot of funding that are sort of gigifying coaching and kind of turning coaches into Uber drivers and cramming them down to very low rates. And we're doing something very different. We're fusing software and people together in sort of a hybrid approach. And so there's really very little that's similar to that. It's typically more, low cost aggregators is where I'd say 98% of the innovation and attention and funding is going. We think our model is different because we're not trying to gigify the coaching profession. We're trying to leverage technology to make coaching better.
It seems to be to a certain extent, you're also kind of creating infusing a little bit of YPO for some of these kind of peer-based and kind of mentoring and coaching together as well.
Absolutely. And YPO is an incredible organization, and people love to learn from each other. They love to share, they love to contribute, hold each other accountable. And if we're at MetLife, we're at Thomson Reuters, we're at Aon, we're at Viacom, CBS, all of our customers, each of those people know about their own culture and industry and business model more than people at our company or our software does. So they get to contribute that texture that makes it even more relevant. And there's that sense of belonging and connection that's not just about work or process, but it's about kind of becoming better versions of themselves, which is very YPO kind of vibe, makes it a great experience.
If you took an additional investment right now, would it be sales, marketing, product? And of course, probably the answer is all the above. So, but let's talk about product. Basically, where would you invest in product? And as you think about the product roadmap, kind of what would make, where you are being kind of good even better?
And that's the final answer, Ben, so that I'll let you answer it.
Okay, I think, we've got a roadmap and we've got enough capital to kind of achieve that, but I think our longer vision is sort of to be a Bloomberg terminal for human performance and a layer that's between an employee and all aspects of work and life. And so we probably put a lot of product money behind something that's more about sustainable behaviors over years of time rather than our structured 6-month program. So we probably put it into an ongoing continuous offering.
Terrific, thanks.
Thanks, guys, really appreciate it. Thanks, Ben. Oh, and to all of our startup contestants. So the people watching should have by now had the polling button come up. So as we speak, they're voting. Now I know that the people on the Zoom meeting here won't be able to directly see the polling as it comes in. And we need to give it a minute or two just to let everybody have the chance to vote. So just while we do that, I mean, Stephen, if I start with you, what are your thoughts from the 3 pitches that we've seen here today?
Yeah, thanks for and thanks to all of the 3 pitches. My first thought is that they're all really, really strong, innovative pitches and in very different ways. Danielle, I love the science and that you're bringing to it, and the story and the journey that you took us on. Gary, your enthusiasm is matched only by the vibrancy of your top. And Ben, as someone who's been an executive coach for 20 odd years, your knowledge and intimacy of the subject matter was very impressive. So thank you.
Thanks. And then Simon, a few comments from you.
Yeah, likewise, I'll echo what was just said. I think very impressive pitches, your subject matter. I think what was great for me was that your businesses have identified a real need out there. And the solution is not only technology, but you're combining that with good skills within your organization. So yeah, very promising. Wish you all success in the future.
Okay, and then Todd.
I think my observation would be kind of each company seems to be kind of leveraging technology to address a problem and doing it in industries where there are countless other ways to kind of do it. But it's a little bit as you think about kind of Zoom came along and it's got a $40+ billion market cap, but there was Skype before it and Microsoft and everyone else has basically a solution. And so basically just being at the margin, whether it's kind of a little bit better on a whole bunch of dimensions can result in something being kind of dramatically superior. So kind of for that, I kind of wish everyone kind of well in execution, because really at the end of the day it is execution.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Todd. Really appreciate it. Okay, well, the guys are telling me on the live chat here that the results are in. So if you can bring up the live poll results, and let's see who the winner is. And I can see from my feed at the end here that in first place with 41.4% of the votes, we have Freda. So well done, Danielle. And but thanks to the other 2.
Fantastic.
Really
I wasn't expecting that.
We'll sort out, normally at this point, I'll be coming on with like a physical prize, but we'll sort out something for you for the next time we catch up face to face after the lockdown eases. But for Gary and Ben, I mean, I think, it was fascinating seeing your pitches and really appreciate coming in today. And, hopefully, raising your awareness with all the people watching as well will help too. So really appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks also to our startup judges for your lines of questioning. Really appreciate it.
Great,
okay, thanks guys.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Great.